Hello, I'm Keyoka, the Awkward Black Nomad. I'm a writer, I'm a dog mom, and I travel solo. My channel is a space for me to talk about bringing my dogs all around the world. I also invite other Black travelers to come on my channel and talk about their experiences traveling and living abroad. If that sounds like something you are interested in, like the video. Okay, subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed to the channel. Drop down in the comment section and say hi. Black folk, we speak when we come into the room. So as you filter in, tell us hi. If you have a question for my guest today, put a Q in front of your question so I see it. And I'm going to bring him on if he's ready. Yes! Hi!
Hey,
How are you?
just got me drinking. I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. So I think your name is pronounced Jay, if I remember.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Can you tell the people where you are?
Well, currently I'm in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm in West Africa for a bit.
Yeah, so originally you and I were supposed to chat about your time in Africa because I did kind of like my version of a Black History Month a few months ago. But I've noticed that you've been like everywhere. Like you've been to Germany, South Africa, you've been to Asia. What kind of started the travel bug for you?
Um, I would say I actually began late. I didn't get a passport until I was already in my 30s, and so really just a few years ago. Um, what really got me going was once I got my passport. My first trip was to Egypt, and I wanted to go somewhere unique, see something that. I see that face. What are you thinking?
Because every person that I've talked to has said that there are certain countries that are like traveler pro, and then like you jump right into like expert travel instead of like going to the easy light countries. You went straight in to. I've heard like experiences in Egypt being real intense. Confirm or deny?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I can confirm. But I think it's about how you decide to go. Now, if you're one of those travelers who if you prefer to have the safety net and have a guide and somebody, everything already solidified as far as your rides from here to there, your activities, all that stuff. I'm sure it could probably be a smooth trip. Um, but if you're more adventurous or you just more delayed in doing things, then it can be a wild trip.
I'm not
And
laughing
but
at
for
you. I
me,
promise. Because you
but
said
but
if
for
you're a
me,
traveler that prefers safety.
yeah, because it's a lot of travelers who going to travel and stay at the resort the entire time,
Yeah.
and I'm just not that kind of traveler. I mean, I will do the resort experience, but for the majority of the time, I'm trying to stay where the people staying, see something different.
Yeah, I like that.
And so, with Egypt, I think a lot of it was at the time I was a classroom teacher, and so a lot of things that I was teaching my students about and discussing constantly um, became more and more interesting to me, and so
Mm.
I think that's what kind of started that itch for unique travel. Something that everybody's not doing. It felt like everybody's going to Mexico, everybody's going to Jamaica. You know, I didn't know anybody who had been to Egypt at that time, and so I got out there. I actually was trying to see if any of my homeboys wanted to go with me, and when you start talking Africa, people stop listening. And so I had one homeboy who was like, you know what? And actually, initially, I wanted to because I was trying to cross off some bucket list stuff, and really I just had two things that I wanted to do. I wanted to go see the pyramids, and I also wanted to go on a safari. And so when I first got the passport, it was either go to Egypt or go to Kenya, and I was trying to, decide where I was gonna go. And so I had one home.
You see how the devil tries to get in my way this morning. Is he frozen for y'all? He's frozen for me. Ain't nothing but the devil on a Saturday. I'm gonna take this time to say good morning to everybody. Hey Dominique, you froze a little bit. I'm gonna say hi to everybody first. Hi Sana. Hi Deneen. Hi, good morning, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Hi Sana from France. Sana, you in France? We love Nice. Hi Khadijah. Khadijah is my homegirl in my head. I think you're back. Are you back? Say something. Yes, yes, you're back. Can you hear me? Oh no, you can't hear me. Technology is a fool. But everybody, he is in Lagos, Nigeria. So do with that information what you will. Um, but we were chatting about Jay's first time in Egypt. I think I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear? I don't think you can hear me. Can you hear me? No? Can you see me? Can you... It's so strange. I don't know if he can. I don't think he can hear or see me, but I can see him. Can y'all see him? Not sure. Maybe I'll kick him out and have him come back. Let me see. Oh yeah, he's okay. He said he was frozen and he's having some internet trouble. Yeah, tell him to try to rejoin. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's see. Oh, hello. Can you see me?
Yeah, yeah, I see you now. Did I freeze up?
You froze up, but then you were moving, but you couldn't see or hear me.
Could you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay. It's okay. It's technology. I said
Isn't
it
that
ain't nothing
crazy?
but the devil on a Saturday when we trying to be great early in the morning. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and that's one thing, being here. Even though I'm in a nice estate. I'm in Lekki, Lagos. I'm in a really nice estate. I mean, I'm taken care of. It's a few power outages. Well, let me not say few. It's been some power outages. But from
Mm.
what I'm understanding, they're saying, it's rainy season, and we've had some. The past few days has been really rough. When at nighttime when rain hits. I mean, the wind is strong out here, and so I guess the community organization is saying that that's the cause of some of the power outages lately. So
Okay. No worries. We understand over here. In fact, everybody should like the video, just to support Jay because he's really trying with us today. He's out there combating sketchy Wi-Fi, um, and he's sharing his life experiences with us. So like the video. If you have any questions for him, drop a Q in front of your question. But Jay, where are you from?
I was born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Okay. I hear a little southern tang. I'm in Dallas. Not by not because I'm from Dallas, but I'm in Dallas. I'm from New Orleans. So that's a long trek, I would say. From Did you freeze again? I think he froze again. I'm about to crash out on a Saturday. I think he froze again. We are fighting against the Wi-Fi in Nigeria, y'all. At some point, we're gonna have this interview, or we might not have this interview. Y'all might just have me just chatting about my life on a Saturday. I don't know. I don't know. Drop down in the comments. Where is everybody watching us from? Okay, I see Deneen is in Georgia, and there he goes. Sanaa is in Nice. How's France, Sanaa? I feel like if there's not at least one technical difficulty in my life, like per week, I just haven't done my job, you know? Because clearly something's trying to hold me back, and I won't let it. Okay. Khadijah is in DC. I love DC. I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. Not an ad. Yeah, I think he's just having some internet trouble. Z is in Texas. I love how she's trying to act like she's not my sister, saying hi. Okay, he's calling again. Hello.
Hey.
It's okay. Moving along swiftly and professionally. So, you're from Houston. You were teaching in Texas, I'm assuming. And in your 30s, you just decided to get your passport and go to Egypt.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's more details in between there, but yeah, yeah. So yeah, from Houston. I was actually teaching in Dallas. I went to school outside of Dallas and graduated. Stayed in that area
Mm,
and started teaching in Dallas. And then everything was cool. I was a classroom teacher on the elementary level. And then the pandemic hit, like in 2020, and so with that, I think after spring break, we never came back to the classroom, and so that was, I guess, my first experience teaching online, and so I did that. I did that for the remainder of the semester, and then we came back. I think late the next year, around October, November. I think at least my department did, and and once I got back to the classroom, I just didn't have the same passion. I didn't feel the same way I felt that I did prior working with my students, and just gave it more and more thought. And at that point, I decided to go ahead and just go back remote and leave the district. And so at that point, I began teaching, contract. So I would pick up different contracts every year and and just teach my students remote.
mm, I love that. Okay. So, when you first started traveling, how did your friends and family take that? Because I feel like 2020 was a time where everybody, I think, realized how important life is. Does that mean like to live it? Because
Yeah, yeah.
we had gotten comfortable not living our lives. Um, so I can imagine somebody who doesn't have a passport, has never been out of the country until they're in their 30s, suddenly getting their passport and then saying, not only am I leaving the country, but I'm going to go to Africa, I'm going to go to Egypt. How did your friends and family receive that? Did they think you were crazy, child? They thought you was having, they wanted to have you committed?
uh, well, my friends and family know that I kind of when I have my mind made up, I'm kind of in that direction, and so I've always kind of marched to my own beat, and so they kind of felt like, okay, this is the new thing he's on right now, um, and so I think the Egypt thing was probably that was a little strange for him, And then the next month after I left Egypt, I went to Cuba, and so I think with that move, they were kind of like, all right, still not sure. Um, because I mean, I'm going by myself to these places outside of Egypt. Since Egypt, I've been going by myself, and so I think they were a little nervous. But I try to make sure that I communicate with my family constantly. So, I got a Google Voice. I have Skype. I've got Messenger. So I've got different ways to communicate. So my parents always feel like I'm accessible. Um, so I think uh, the Egypt and the Cuba was probably, they were unsure about that. But the next year, next summer, I ended up going to Kenya. I think that probably was the most um, uncomfortable I've made them feel going somewhere, you know.
I
And
heard
so,
Kenya is like you step off the plane, it could be anywhere USA in Kenya.
um, yeah, yeah, I guess it's depending on where you're at, like Nairobi, yeah. And so, initially I was going to go to Nairobi. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Nairobi because that's all I knew. That's all I knew about Kenya. I said, I'll figure it out. I get there and I'll find a way to find a safari and
Hmm.
do something. And then end up talking to a friend of mine, and she's actually from Kenya. And she was like, if you're gonna go to Kenya, don't go to Nairobi. You should go to Malindi. And she
Mm.
was like, I got my family's in Malindi. They'll take care of you. It's a lot to do and all of this. And so, I mean, I was like, all right, cool. So, so I landed in Nairobi, and I spent like the night in Nairobi. Then I got on the SGR, and the SGR is a train that goes. It has a few stops in between, but it'll take you from Nairobi to Mombasa. And so, it's on that train. I think it's like 5 hours. Yeah, a few stops and all that stuff. But it's a smooth ride. About 5 hours, and I could have took a plane. Honestly, now I these days I fly more than I take the train, just because cost
Fine.
wise, honestly, it's not. Yeah, it's about the same. But at this time, I wanted to see the landscape. It was, I wanted to do it all. So uh, I ended up taking the SGR to Mombasa, and her brother came and picked me up from Mombasa and took me to Malindi. And I actually had I found I might use Airbnb. I think at this time I might have used Airbnb or Booking.com. I use those mostly when I'm traveling. And and so I found a little spot on Airbnb or Booking, and at this time they said it was off season when I went. So it wasn't tourist season. It wasn't very many people there. So I was able to get like honestly good rates on everything. Even when I got there, it felt like I didn't really have to come out too much money. And so, like I say, that probably was the time that my parents were, the most uncomfortable. But since then, they've kind of figured
Like
it
this
out.
is just what he gonna be doing. So we gotta we gotta D from
Yeah,
Brown Girls That
yeah,
Best says you are out there running their blood pressure up. Okay.
and yeah, yeah, I was, but the fact is that the fact that I check in, I do my little
Mm,
check-ins with family, and
mm-hmm,
hey, and they can always reach me. Now they're like, all right, cool, cool. I know he's gonna survive whatever it is.
mm,
And I mean, I'm not the type of traveler who's gonna be out doing a whole lot. I don't do I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I'm not gonna have my phone out doing a whole lot of different things. I don't really wear labels. Like you see my photos. You see I'm just a um, t-shirt and some jeans or shorts. But I try not to stand out. I try not to look tourist. You see tourists out there with the phone. Yeah, doing a whole bunch of stuff. And
dressing for men is different though. Like you talking about, oh, I could just travel with a t-shirt and jeans. I'm sure you can. Y'all don't be
I
doing
think you
nothing.
probably could too. Two
What if you
t-shirts
want to
and a
have
and a
a
sun.
what if you want to have a meal? You want to parlay, you want to get guzzied up a little bit, go out and have a dinner. You can't just wear a t-shirt and jeans. We having
Well,
two different
see, and
conversations.
you're right. Well, it depends on how you go out there with, right? Because like
Hmm.
this most recent trip, I went to Benin. Actually coming back from where I come back from. I think it was I think Ethiopia tore up my suitcase. Ethiopian Airlines, yeah, shout out to Ethiopian Airlines. But anyways, my suitcase, one of the wheels is broken off the side of it. So when I was kind of packing, and this trip was more impromptu. I didn't plan for it so much, but I went to Benin before I came here, and but I didn't have time to replace my suitcase, so I really just threw some stuff in a backpack and a small little duffel bag. So I, with the mindset though that when I get there, if there's anything that I need, I can get it there, and that gives me the opportunity to shop,
That's true.
um, get to know my neighbors, get to know my neighborhood. Um, gives me something to do. And so, like last week, I was in Benin, and I didn't have anything, and I wanted something. I want, and actually, everybody seems like everybody in Benin, at least where I was at in Cotonou, they dress really elegant. It doesn't matter what they're doing, if they're walking down the street. I mean, they.
Africans in general, like,
Mhm.
they put that shit on. Like, when I tell you clean, everything is well made, like the detail, the colors, the you don't even need to overpack because you can do your shopping once you get there. I love that.
Exactly, exactly. And so, I met a group of friends the other day, maybe last week, or the week prior. And so they took me shopping the other day, and I ended up getting, um, I'm not sure what it's called in Benin. I know here, it's called, I think, called a native, which is the attire, the matching top and the bottom.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And
Yes.
so, yeah, yeah. So I found one in Benin, and actually, a great tailor, and she produces pretty much whatever you want. So she's actually making me two more right now. So when I get back to Benin, I'll pick those up. But I mean, it's just a reason. I mean, I don't have to. As long as I pretty much, well, really, I don't really need too much. You know, underwear, socks.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I mean, honestly, that's about it. Anything else I can pretty much find. And And the reason I say like underwear and socks, I mean because underwear in different places fit different, and they have different sizes and stuff. Like I was in Japan, and Japanese sizes aren't like our sizes. So if you think you're getting large, you're not.
It's
So
large for them.
yeah, large, but tight as hell for us. And so that's one thing I had to I try to make sure. And even recently, this trip, they lost my bag, and so that was another thing I had to purchase. As soon as I got here, I had to, buy a few things for at least a day. Then,
Can I just say I love that you're talking about this as a man because when I was in Barcelona and the little shop ladies were like XXL, XXXXL, I was like shamed. I'm like, why are you saying that out loud in front, like, and they're thinking like, "Oh, I have your size, come to me." But I'm like, "Do you have my size?" Like, but it
Mhm.
happens for men too. Like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. In Japan, definitely. I
Hmm.
realized and I was in Bali for a bit too, this past year, and I'm trying to think if I went shopping much. Honestly, I would say I was in Bali for like 7 weeks, and actually I didn't buy anything. But it seems like the Bali culture is more, like I say, t-shorts, and so I mean t-shirts, shorts, flip flops. So that was my attire every day. That's what everybody was wearing. So I didn't feel the need to, you know,
Mm,
really put a button down on or anything.
yeah. Katrina says, "This is Africa. Too much dressing for up for me. It is too hot for clothes anyway." Katrina likes to run around naked. Katrina, where you at? I think she last I saw last I heard from her, she was in Vietnam. And we have a lot of questions for you. Give me a second to scroll through. Good morning,
Okay, for sure.
everybody. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. Um, so Deneen is asking, what do you do for a living to travel? Love the salt and pepper beard.
Thank you, thank you. um, I'm a teacher, so I'm a remote resource teacher. So I work with students with disabilities, um, yeah, learning disabilities, delays, behavior issues, things like that. I do all that online virtually.
And are your students in the US or are they around the world?
No, so my students are U.S. And so um, every year, I mean, so I'm certified to teach in different states. So I can kind of pick up a contract in Arizona. I can pick one up in Massachusetts and Texas. And so what I have to do is just work that time zone. So some places it's easy and some places it's not. Like here, right now, I log on for a school in Michigan, and I log on about 9:30 Michigan time, which is about 2:30 West African time. And so, that time isn't so bad. That time difference isn't so bad because I can kind of get up if I want to go to the beach, if I want to just chill, go see a movie, whatever I want to do, I can do that. Still be back by 2 o'clock, log on, and then I'm normally off work. Um, Honestly, about 8, 9 o'clock. Um, and if I want to, I can still experience some of the nightlife. The only time it was really really, really tough for me was when I was in Bali, just because I think I might have been 13 hours, 12 or 13 hours. So when I'm logging on, 9 o'clock their time, I'm also like 9 o'clock my time in Bali. So to try to work, start logging on at 9 and then work till about 4 a.m. or whatever, and then try to sleep when the sun is, and the roosters are crowing and all that stuff. It can be, that was like the most difficult time, but for the most part, here, if I'm in East Africa, I'm normally logging on about 4 or 5 o'clock. So it's not, you
That's
know,
not
it's
bad.
not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And also, it allows, I mean, if I really want to find something where I'm at, if I mean, I'm doing a nomad thing, so I'm in different places constantly. But if I really want to sit still, it wouldn't be a horrible thing for me to, possibly work in a school somewhere, then come home and maybe work online. So I really could do a little bit more depending on where I'm at.
Mm, yeah, that's fair. So you mentioned being a nomad. What kind of made you adopt that term?
Um, I guess the fact that when people say like, "Where do you live?" and I have to be like, "Well," for so long, it was a thought process to say, "Okay, well, I have to explain. Well, I'm from Houston, but for the last, I've been just going, 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 going." Um, so it's just easy to say, I'm a nomad. I'm just,
But it's
um,
it's to make the shift between I'm gonna go on a trip, right? And I'm gonna go on vacation to I'm gonna go and I'm gonna stay gone. How did you get to
yeah,
that place where you're like, actually, I won't be coming back to the US to get a
gotcha.
place or whatever?
Yeah, it was a build up. So and so I had a set of twins when I was in college, and so became a dad early. And so prior to this, even like so, when I got to school, I started thinking, okay, I want to travel, I want to see the world a bit, and I just started thinking like this. And by my junior year, me and my girlfriend at the time, we ended up having a set of twins. And so with that, it kind of just changed everything. Moved around a bit. We moved to San Antonio, had the kids, did that for a while. It didn't work out. We went our ways, did the co-parenting thing. Then we moved, back in the same areas, in the same states again. And my son lived with me. His sister lived with the mom, but we were always kind of close in proximity, so they can go back and forth. I made an agreement with her, if she moved back to Texas with my daughter, 'cause where me and my son was at, because she was in Oklahoma. I said, I'll make sure we stay in the same area. That way, the kids can go back and forth without us having to do too much. So we made that arrangement. They moved back. I think when my daughter was in middle school, and so at this time it was really just I mean, just really just dad mode. I was working and just doing all that. But like I said, I'm sorry, let me turn my phone on vibrate. Um, and so yeah, and so around this time, I'm really just focused on that, doing what everybody's doing, just working and paying bills and complaining, and so uh, um, and so it was like I said, I began teaching. And I'm teaching about different areas, history, and and at this time I would do like Black History programs, but I would do like these extravagant, like my class would come out and like just shut the whole program down, you know. And so that was something that we were known for. But I guess during Black History Month, we started digging deeper and deeper, and I would come up with unique topics to talk about, discuss with my class, because I knew that for the rest of their education, public education career, they would learn about Malcolm X. I'm not Malcolm. I'm sorry, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and those people, in the movement. But I wanted to introduce them to other people they weren't aware of, and so we talked about Marcus Garvey, and we talked about Malcolm X, and a lot of people who did major things. Maybe not necessarily in the civil rights movement, but um, for us, for Black people, up to and things like that, things they wouldn't hear about. And I was at this time, I think I was teaching second grade, so it was a little bit easier because in Texas, third grade is a testing grade, so they have state testing at third grade, and so the schools are pretty much focused on making sure that they pass the exams. That's what they're drilling on, testing. And so with me teaching second grade at the time, it allowed me to have time to kind of focus on things that I thought was important. Not just on testing. And so as I'm teaching these things, I think this interest is growing inside of me as well too. And so interest for um, world knowledge, exploration, and when Black history, just kind of digging deeper into Africa,
Okay.
and so that's I think so with this and just being there, it's just a build up because I wasn't like I said I wasn't traveling at this time. It was a build up of curiosity, and so I ended up going to. That's when I went to Egypt, and I was like, all right, this is cool. I came back, I went to Cuba and said, okay, this is really dope. Um, I just was like, okay, cool. When I get a chance, I'm gonna really, really go. And so, up to that time, I would start traveling. I would go for weeks at a time. Maybe 6 weeks. I would discuss with the kids. Hey, I'm gonna go. What does this look like? Y'all cool? And I would go for up to 6 weeks. Then I'd come back, and this was just a taste. And I would always say, okay, when the kids graduate, then I can go ahead and go. And so I would go for a bit and come back, go for a bit and come back, for several months, and just kind of waiting for him to graduate. And so when I dropped my son off at school, got him moved in July, and it's past July. Then I took my daughter to university, her university, because they go to two different colleges. Uh, Took her to school, dropped her off, got her established, and I just flew out like a week later. And since then, I've been doing a nomad thing like constantly. I just got back stateside. I went back stateside January just to check on family for a bit. Um, and I was there for about maybe 6 weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and it was time to go again.
It's
And so to
always
answer
time
your
to
question,
go
I was just
when you get here. It's always time to go. You planning the next trip. We ready to get out of here. Um, but
yeah.
your twins are in college now. How do they feel about
Mhm.
you going over all these different, like, are they really into it? Do they want to also travel themselves?
Yeah. And so after Egypt, Egypt was cool and Cuba was cool. Um, the next, oh yeah, so the next time I went somewhere, I think I ended up going to Kenya. And so Kenya just blew my mind. So I was, sending them pictures, and my whole purpose was really at this point, like, I got to get you guys here. I got to get you guys here.
Hmm.
And so again, like at this time, nobody in my circle, family, friends, is even thinking about travel like this. I mean, um, I don't think I knew I had any friends who, were thinking about getting their they had passports probably, but not thinking about getting their kids passports and things like this. And so at this time, I was like, I just want to get my kids to see some of this stuff. Because so when I went to Kenya, like I said, I got plugged in with some good people. I found a cool little spot to chill, and then just the guys working there. I was like the only guest there at the time, and it was like smaller. I wouldn't say maybe like a resortish type spot. But I ended up linking up with the cooks and like the dude that was working on the pool and doing some stuff. So I mean, they was honestly just showing me around their village, their region, and with that, I feel like I'm getting a little blurry. I think my connection might be. I don't know,
I still see you.
but you still see me? Okay, it's just on my end then. And so yeah, so with that experience, I was sold. I was right by the beach. I mean, I was. It was just a very chill experience. Um, it wasn't like a. It didn't cost a lot, and so it was just good energy. And so I was like, okay, my kids have to experience this. So that Christmas, I ended up getting, and I'm really not a holiday person. I don't. I mean, I really don't, buy gifts and all that. So, but this Christmas, I went this time. I went ahead and got my kids their passports for Christmas, and I was like, okay, I got to get you guys out here. You got to see something. And so, um, they were. It's I think for children, it can be difficult if both sides of your family aren't on board with something. And for me, the kind I was the way I'm talking about. We got to go here. We got to see this. You got to do this. Uh, I'm out there. But when you're co-parenting with somebody who does things a little bit different or kind of who's more uh, what's the term, more um, traditional. That's the term, more traditional. Then you got to find a balance in things. And I think kids a lot of times are torn between trying to satisfy um, one parent's uh, trying to satisfy one parent and then trying to satisfy the other. So
Hmm.
my kids would show interest, but then they would kind of pull back at times, like And so we got the passports, and then the next year I was like, I mean, next year at this point I was traveling, so um, I don't think we kept up with the timeline. But so pandemic happened, 2020. Around 2020, I was like, I got to go. So I quit teaching and got a remote gig, and then I left early 2021 and moved to Tanzania. I had an opportunity to work with Tanzanian Football Federation. I have a background even before education. I was a personal trainer and I did fitness and I ran gyms and strength conditioning coaching and all that. So that allowed me to go out there for some opportunities in Tanzania. So I went out there for a bit. I was in Tanzania for about maybe 6 weeks to 8 weeks at this time in 2021. At this time, I think everything was shut down. The only thing that was open was Tanzania. And I think Rwanda might have been open. I think Rwanda was open at that point. But to travel to, you couldn't go anywhere. So when I got out to Tanzania, I mean, my whole mindset was, I got to get my kids out here and see this. They got to see more. They got to see more. Um, and so I ended up um, going back, got the kids' passports, and then I think the next year I booked them flights for Kenya. And so, they were excited. It was cool. It was something different. Um, at this time, now I've been traveling a bit, so people are comfortable with the idea, you know.
Hmm.
But around this time, I think it was like a political thing going on in Kenya, and it was election season. And so, somebody that worked with my kid's mom told, I guess I think they might have been from Kenya. I'm not sure, but they told her that it probably wasn't the right time to go to Kenya because of the election, and that it might be a lot going on, a lot of demonstrations. And so, with that, she didn't feel comfortable with me taking them to Kenya. and just to appease her and just just make things easier. Started looking at different other places we could go, and so took them to Belize. So their first trip was to Belize, and um, we did that. It was cool, Caribbean vibes. My first time in Belize, but I still want to get them to Africa. you know, I still want to get them to Africa, and so I was like, "That's cool, but we got to go somewhere else." Like, wait till y'all see something else. And so
That lady
eventually,
tired of
I
you.
got
She's
them.
like, you trying to take my
I got them.
babies over Africa. Because I think, another thing is, I think a lot of people have a perception of Africa as a whole as this like severely dangerous place. So it's like, kind of going back to what we talked about in the beginning, like if you're not familiar with travel or doing anything overseas, which a large population of Black Americans specifically are not familiar with anything abroad. We've gotten better, I would say, after 2020 in the last few years, but by and large, we don't know anything about other countries. So then you're saying go from there to go to Africa, the thing that we've been told for years that it's this dangerous place that everybody they don't have, everybody living in huts. We know the stereotype everything. So she was
Yeah.
probably having a heart attack. You talking about trying to take her babies
Yeah, yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
and I know it can be it can be a lot, but I
Hmm.
feel like prior to this point, I've seen the videos every day. Hey, this is what it is. This is what hey, this is where I'm staying. This is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and so I'm giving you something to engage you to let you know, hey, this is it's safe. It's safe where I wouldn't put anybody in danger, and so yeah, I'm sure she felt like like you said at first, um, but I mean, she
But
knows.
that's
I mean,
a
she
that's
knows
a
that I ain't gonna
large
let nothing
part of
happen to the
the
kids. So
yeah, and I think that's a large part of the labor that you have to kind of take on as the person who is doing the traveling to get other people more comfortable to come with you, So I think that's really good that you did spend some time, I don't want to say educating, but like getting other people more comfortable with the idea of travel.
yeah, I mean, it really is educating them. I mean, from every aspect, as far as like, like, hey, this is what the people are like. This is what it's like communicating. This is what
Yeah.
resources you're gonna have to really move around. And so, um, I mean, after doing that for so long in different places, um, I mean, I have like a checklist for the most part as far as what I need to have and what needs to be put in place for me to move around like I need to move around.
Well, let's get into the checklist. What is the checklist? What you
Well, I mean, I won't say a checklist, but it's in my head. It's things that I'm checking for before when I put my bag together. So, I already got a plastic bag for like my electronics. I got my Ziploc bag, and so I have my different adapters um, for pretty much any plugs that I'm gonna need. Um, I've got I travel with two laptops because you might get a virus or something somewhere, or you might break a laptop. So I travel with two laptops to work, make sure I can still get that income. And luckily I do because this past summer in Mexico, one of my laptops started overheating and just screen went black, but I had my backup.
Mhm.
Let me see. I have a ring light for my computer because if I'm working somewhere and the power goes out, if I'm working it's nighttime and wherever I'm at, I still have to be able to log on to get my money. And so I have my ring light. Let me see. Mm, I mean, it's a certain type of cream I like to use, shaving cream I like to use after I shave. So I make sure I have two of those.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
let me see. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like and honestly, a lot of stuff stays within the bag. So even if when I come home and I'm in my parents' house, or if I'm with family, or if I'm visiting somebody in the States, a lot of stuff doesn't come out those little Ziploc bags. It's already preset with everything in it that I need. Um, so I just grab my stuff and I got another bag with my passport, my yellow fever card, my international driver's permit. Um, Let me see. Yeah, yeah, you know. And so just those things right there are always gonna be with me when I travel. You know.
When you choose a place, is there anything that you look for, or is it like, are you still going off that bucket list of places you want to get to?
Uh, my bucket list is forever growing, and so because I mean I'm just crossing out stuff, and so I've pretty much done everything I wanted to do, and then something else pops up. Like right now, um, like something normally just stands out to me, like Madagascar. That's one place I want to go right now. Um, I
Do
think, and
you?
I'm like I say, oh yeah, that's yeah, right. Oh, yeah. I do. Um, I like nature. I like nature. I like different animals, and I like things that are different. I like to experience things that are rare, limited, and that explains why I chose Egypt first. I didn't want to go to Mexico. I didn't want to go to Dubai either.
You have
And
one
honestly, I
video.
still don't.
You have one video on your Instagram where you're feeding hyenas, and when I tell you, I felt my soul leave my body like every time one approached. I was like, is this man for real? Is he gonna be alive for the interview? Is he gonna be around? That scared the life
Yeah,
out of me. Everybody saw Lion King. Everybody. You out there feeding hyenas raw meat, and the guy sitting next to you is just like pulling the meat out the bucket. The hyena, they look like little dogs, but they're like scary dogs. You just like,
yeah.
yeah, this is what
It was an
happens.
experience. It was an experience.
I was
I
stressed on your behalf. I was stressed.
yeah. Yeah, I would have been stressed too. I was, I had a few edibles before I got there, but it was something I felt more comfortable with because I looked at it before. I saw some other people doing it on videos, and then kind of just reading about the brother who's doing it. It was like he's been out there for so long. I think he's been doing it for like 20 years, and actually he's like the son of the guy who's been doing it. And so he was like the hyenas out there like his children, and they. I mean, uh, I feel safe.
All right. All right. Okay. Melissa says Madagascar has
Yeah,
lots of natural beauty. I'm sure it does. So we were talking a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
earlier about kind of some of the stereotypes that people have about different countries, but we didn't touch on safety. So Z is asking, as a Black traveler, is there anywhere you felt truly unsafe or ready to leave due to how people treated you?
Um,
This is the question that stumped you.
Not to how people.
This is the
Yeah,
one where you like, I
I'm
don't
going
know.
through. I mean, I was in like 12 different countries last year, so I'm honestly trying to think like, was there any? No, not to how people treated me. Honestly, no. Um, no, I've been treated worse in the States, and so yeah, I've always. I think a lot of times, well, I would say more times than not, it's about the energy that you give off. You know, and like, oh, so there's one incident, and this, and normally when I go places, like I said, I'm solo dolo, and and I don't come off like some kind of like super green dude. I'm not like, I just kind of but I don't mind engaging. I don't mind speaking to people. I don't mind smiling. I don't have that, that fearful type. I don't have that fear when I go places. And so, I was in Ethiopia last year or the year prior, I don't know, and and I met a brother out there from the States, from New York, and so we met up. We was gonna get a beer, whatever, and and when we first got together, we met up somewhere, I don't know, and it was cool. We had a beer, brother was cool, and just talking about our experiences there. But he was very defensive towards the people, in our vicinity, like the local brothers and sisters around. It's like, what you want, stuff like that. And even when we were, going out, walking down the street, going to different clubs and stuff, when people would approach, he was very, get away from me, that type of stuff. And so I was kind of, it was kind of strange for me because I don't really move like that. But then he was explaining how I think his phone stolen. It was like a kid came up to him and touching, talking to him, whatever like that, and asking for something. And he was other kids came around, and then he realized his phone was stolen. So I guess due to his experiences, that made him more, um, you know, like he was. And so, anyways, we ended up having some situations that night. I think the first time we ended up one place. Um, I think after we might have went to another spot, might have went to one spot to get a drink, um, and a waitress came, bought some beers, and we were just talking, and one of the guys in the background said, well, don't you say that? And the dude was like, the guys was like, what you talking about? And so, anyways, the guy was like, you called her a bitch. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say all that, but it was a lot of okay. But the guy I was with, rather, if it was me, I would have been like, I would have ignored it or whatever like that because it wouldn't have been worth me even engaging with the dude. But this brother ended up getting upset and going back and forth and that type of stuff, and got real argumentative and wanted to fight the guy. And like I said, I'm used to being by myself, so I don't really have these situations, so I don't know how to respond. I'm like, it ain't that serious, bro. I'm trying to tell him it's not that serious. I and we out here, and I just met you. I got to fight for you because if they jump on you, what I got, So it was one of those situations. But
Not you got
I
roped
was like,
into.
it's not that serious, but just yeah, I'm like, dude, we came out for a beer, and now we about to get in a bar fight. This ain't what I came out for. But so we ended up leaving. After that got resolved, whatever. Ended up with us shaking hands, laughing, and then we went to another bar with the two guys that we were about to get into it with. And so that was cool. But we kept on, going around. He still had this kind of, this type of energy that he was moving with. And anyways, long story short, by the end of the night, I got my phone got. So somebody came up to me and grabbed my arm, really tight.
Mm,
And I really wasn't paying attention at first, but he kept squeezing. So at this point, I pushed him off me, and he fell in the streets. And we kept on going, and then that's when the guy I was with was like, "Check your pockets," and I checked my pockets, and my phone was gone.
mm,
Uh, you know, chased the dude down. He didn't have it, and then so that's when he explained to me the guys with that what they do is they'll take your phone, but they pass it off, and that's what happened to him. They'll pass it off to somebody, and they'll do all that. And so, but I felt like that wouldn't have probably happened to me if I wasn't moving with it. Because once I was moving with him, I was moving with more of a defensive type energy, feeling like something might happen, and I'm always prepared. To be honest with you, I'm normally 10 steps ahead, but I think but something about that energy we were moving in that night kind of set me up. But normally I make sure that I'm safe. Normally I don't check in with the embassies like that. That's not my thing. I had a friend tell me the other day, you should probably check in when you go to Nigeria with the embassy. No, but but that's just not
so the government
what I'm
could
thinking.
track me?
It's not what yeah, so the government can track me. Yeah, I don't
But
want that. But
losing your phone stolen is such a like, I don't know, it's like a travel L. Like I feel like I've had my phone stolen. It's just like your first, I don't know. It's not as big of a deal as, it's not even a marker for like if a place is unsafe for me. Like cuz everybody steals phones now. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, you just have to be mindful. And I mean, there's certain things that I know not to do. Like if you're riding around in the car and you have the windows down, you can't be on your phone in certain areas. They'll drive by on the motorcycle and take your phone. You know, even if you're on a motorcycle and you're trying to record driving around, somebody might, ride by you and take it. So certain things like that, I'm aware of. But just the dude letting somebody get close enough and grab my arm, and then I guess he had enough of my attention where he could dig in my back pocket and just, take my phone.
Yeah.
That you know, that kind of, yeah, got me. But I mean, it was what it was. What it was. So at this time, I think I had a backup phone, so I ended
Do
up
you
getting on. And what I do, I hmm,
no continue?
what'd you say?
Continue.
Oh, I was just saying that. So pretty much wherever I go, I use Marketplace. If I need to purchase something, I use Facebook Marketplace to get the best deals. I use so I went on either I'm sure it's either a Facebook Marketplace or like a GG app, JIJI, GG Ethiopia, GG Nigeria, GG Kenya, and that's a site where they sell. You can buy and sell different things. So I think I got on either one of those, or maybe Facebook Marketplace, and just saw what was in the area. That way I can negotiate, and I ended up getting and I knew at this time what I wanted to get was an iPhone Mini. I felt like because I don't like moving around with my pockets bulky anyways, and I felt like part of the reason I got because I had this iPhone 13 Max Pro, and I don't like you can see too much with a big phone in your pocket. So I was like, I'm gonna get an iPhone Mini, and so with that, I found an iPhone Mini. Met met a guy at the apartments I was staying. He brought me the phone. I checked it out, um, and 2 days later, I had a new phone. So it was what it was.
Yeah. Um, so do you feel like, I'm trying to think about how to phrase this question. Do you feel
Hmm.
like Black Americans travel with a certain kind of energy? So obviously in your story you talked about how this guy had had previous experiences, but he did have this sort of like defensiveness about him. Do you think that's a thing specific to Black Americans who maybe haven't traveled as often?
Um, yeah, I do. I'm talking actually. I was talking to a homie earlier, and I feel like, and I wouldn't even say just Black Americans. I would say Americans in general. I think that
Mm,
we're conditioned to have fear of things outside of America, and it's really just due to ignorance, So anything is fearful that we're not super familiar with. So, yeah, we know people who've gone to Mexico, we know people who've gone to Jamaica, so that's not so intimidating. But when you start talking about regions that we don't know, people who've gone to, that we haven't, that we don't know anything about, we don't know what kind of language they speak, kind of food. Um, I think a lot of Americans get, apprehensive about going to those places.
mhm.
Um, just a lot of it. I think we're just conditioned to have a lot of fear. When you think about like the COVID stuff, so much fear in that. Um, and I would probably now that you say it, even beyond America, probably Black America has a even more fear. You know, um,
So the
more
reason why
fear
I asked that
we're conditioned
question
to.
is because so I've been having this channel for a while and I interview a lot of like Black people who travel a lot. And the question that I always get is it safe for us? And it's difficult for me. So I spent a lot of time like in Europe. I've only been to like two places in Africa, but I spent a lot of time in Europe. And a lot of people are surprised when I say I don't know that I've had any racist experiences while I was in Europe because, those people could have just been having a bad day. Okay, like it's
Yeah.
it's weird. I can't tell you how I'm being received as a Black woman because I think I'm seen as an American first in most places. So I don't know. It's almost like you have to let go this idea that your race is determining how people are engaging with you because so much of that is the American experience. Like there are things that have happened to me when I was in like Germany where I'm like, "Oh, that person is the problem." Because I've had other interactions with other people that were okay to where I could say, well, I don't think that Germany as a whole is a racist place, you know? Whereas, like, if the same instance had happened in Texas, I'm like, oh, he don't like black people. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like totally different. Like it's almost
Yeah.
like you could give people in other countries a little bit more kind of grace, because I think part of it is like they're also curious about you, right? Like you should be approaching every foreign situation with curiosity, but understanding that you probably the only black American that they've ever met, and they've never heard your side of the story. I think that was common for me. A lot of people will say, I've heard Americans say this, or, oh, Americans, blah, 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 but I've never met a black person from America. Or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I've had any race experiences in Europe at all. But when I think about it too, like I was thinking what you're saying as far as when they realize I'm American, and I'm not sure if they saw me and assumed I was Nigerian, would I get the same uh, type of
Yeah,
respect
yeah,
that I get as an American? Because I know a lot of places I go, in Africa, we don't like Nigerians, whatever like that, but a lot of times they might think I'm Nigerian until I say something, and so um, I don't know if you would call it like racism or if it's just yeah, I guess hmm, I guess it's still racism, I guess, but it's not towards it's different. Um, People are curious about, especially being a Black American man, because a lot right now the world is, is going with the hip hop stuff. They like a lot of the stuff, celebrities and all this. So, you know, as soon as they realize I'm from America, they get excited and they want to ask me about pop culture and stuff like that. Which I mean, honestly, I don't even keep up with. And what do you think about the Drake and the Kendrick stuff? They like to ask me that when
yeah.
that stuff was going on. I'm like, man, I don't
Or
listen to
like,
none of
or
that
like
stuff.
people will ask, like,
you
what's
know,
what's
uh,
going on with Kanye? I don't know that man. America is a very big
yeah,
place. I don't know him. Like they want you to just, you know, everything. This is
yeah, they
your
asked me about.
people. Tell us about your people.
Uh, Yeah, and now with the Trump stuff, everybody is wants to know about the Trump and has an opinion about the Trump and months ago it was Trump and Kamala. And what do you think about this? I don't know, and so um, most recently I did have an experience when I had to try to get my visa in Nigeria for Nigeria. I went to the embassy in Benin. I went in person to try to get it a little bit easier because online it was some stuff. So I was like, if I can get there in person, I can get it. Uh, and so the guy, I knew it was gonna probably come with a little bit of bribery, but the one thing I didn't expect him to say was, hey, we gonna, Trump is making it tough for us, so we got to try to make it tough for y'all too, you know.
What?
And so yeah,
No.
yeah. And so he was like, yeah. And so yeah, he wanted a little extra money. And so and I understood, but for me, uh I was still like, I don't know if I want to, pay this bribe. I wasn't sure what he was trying to do, but then he was like, you know what? And I was like, all right. I was like, all right, it's fine. I'll go ahead and give you some. He's like, no, no, it's fine. You can go ahead and leave. And I was like, nah, it's cool. At this point, I was like, I can't, I give you the money, man. And then so he was like, no, 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 it's fine. And so I was about to leave, but then he said, go, you know what, sit down. And it was a white guy who I saw on the outside, and he came in, and he was like, "I want you to watch this." He's from America too, and so I sat down on the couch in the guy's office, and he let the white guy come in. And the white guy came in. I guess he's been going. It was like his third trip, and he was like, "I got the paperwork that you asked for. I got all this for the visa and all this stuff." And he was like, "Do you have your residency card?" He's like, He's like, "Where do I get that?" He's like, "I don't know." He's like, "When you leave, ask the man on the outside, but you can't get it without the residency card." And so the guy's like, "Oh," and so he left, and he asked me to come back, sit in the chair in front of him. And he was like, you know, uh, for you, this stuff with Trump is making this hard. So him, he no matter what he does, he's not gonna get a visa. Even if he comes back with that, I'm still not gonna give him a visa. And so he was like, he said, you a brother, I'll go ahead and I'll give you a visa. You know. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I realized, all right, well, maybe he was doing something for,
Right. Get a
doing something for me.
little bit of privilege there. He's like, look,
Yeah,
you a brother.
a little bit of privilege. Yeah, but that was why he let me make it. But other than that, he let me know with the stuff going on back and forth. I guess with what's going on in the states with Nigeria, you know, they're not gonna make it easy for American citizens either.
Yeah.
So
Do
yeah,
you
so that
see
was the
that
first problem.
happening in do you see that happening in other places, not just in Africa, but
Um, mm, not to that extent. Now it is a lot of conversations. Everywhere I go, it's if once they see you and in their minds they see an American flag and they see Trump and they want to know what side you're on, what you feel about this. Um, I mean, honestly, even in 2020, I think when I was traveling, I think Obama was in office, and at that time, that was the topic of discussion too. When I was in Kenya, they were, hey, what do you feel about? And this was 2019, 18 or 19 when I was in Kenya. They was like, what do you feel about Obama and this and that? And they were really riding with Obama. And so it just depends, I guess, who's in the White House when you're traveling. But that's going to be a topic of discussion.
mm, okay. That's fair. Um, so you talked a little bit about like your experiences as a black man. Have there been any sort of, do you feel like there's any misconceptions about black men who travel?
Um, I don't know because I don't because I don't really know a lot of black men that travel like that, like me. When I travel, I'll meet brothers, in different spots and stuff like that. But this is just the beginning of a movement, I believe. We're rare to see brothers really traveling like we get to travel, like I get to travel, and like some of the other guys, I get to travel. Um, More and more lately, I've been hearing the term passport bros, and so like when I come back home, whatever, and I get up with friends from college or whatever, and they throw that term out there, and I didn't know what it was for a while, but now I'm realizing, I have an idea of what a lot of people think it is. Um, I think it sucks that when anybody else travels, oh, he's a traveler, he's this, he's that, but when a brother's traveling, that's the first thing you can try to label him as is, somebody who's, I guess, only traveling for one reason or to um, for whatever reason that may be, rather than just somebody who's curious or somebody who wants to learn, somebody who wants to even maybe do international business, you know. So I think that's disheartening at times, but that's I don't really that's just here and there. I like I said, I don't really know a lot of brothers who really go like this.
Hmm. How are you when you are abroad? How are you building community? So you said that you only met like a few black male travelers, but like, are you connecting more with like locals? Are you like getting insulated in like the American expat communities when you go abroad?
Yeah, definitely. And so, I'm in a couple different groups, expat groups on Facebook. Also, the expat app, is a good way to meet other Black people who are traveling in the same area, might have similar experiences, or who may have been there, and can kind of advise you on where to move around. And so, yeah, I use that. And honestly, before I go somewhere, I kind of just I watch YouTube. I watch a couple different videos, see how other people are moving around, and say, okay, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. Do. Uh, I absorb all of that. I'll even reach out to a YouTuber and say, hey, I see this. where'd you stay, or how'd you do this, and they'll connect me with somebody, a driver or whoever it may be. Um, so I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. Or if I might know somebody in that region already, or know somebody who has family there. But that's pretty much that's how I go about creating community. And then I just go out, and I try to go out, be social, um, try different things. I try different restaurants too, and so with that, different restaurants, as I'm speaking to my to my server or whatever, somebody might overhear my accent and say, "Oh, okay, where you from?" And that'll create some conversation, and then that's my plug. They'll advise me, hey, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. But I say definitely the first thing I would advise anybody to do is to try to find an online community. Like the Black and Bali community is, I mean, they're very active, they do a lot. And so you know they'll plug you in. Even the expat of Kenya, it's a strong expats in Kenya community as well too, and they do a lot of things together. And so, other places, if I'm there, I mean, if I'm there longer than a month, I'm pretty much know some people there, or you know, got some people who have family there to kind of hold me down. You know,
Extroverts really live different lives. They really do.
who you say? What's that now? Who?
I said extroverts live really different lives. Y'all really do. Talking to
Oh,
people, sitting down, talking to
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Hate that. Hate that for you.
yeah.
Um,
It's but it's not always like that. It's a balance. And so for me, I do that, but a lot of times I'm in my own little zone. Like I really that, and that's the good part about being able to go somewhere for a long time. If I go somewhere for a month or 2 months, I have days where if I just want to chill at the house, I can chill at the house for days in. It's not like a rush, like if you go on vacation, you're like, okay, I only got 5 days here. I got to go see this.
yeah.
I'm really living here. So it gives me an opportunity to really, take in the culture, engage, be able to make plans. If I meet people and they say, okay, we're gonna rent a boat next week and do all this, and join us. I can say, okay, well, I'll be here next week. I'm down. And so it's uh it's a good life.
Are you dating?
When I travel, sometimes, yeah, sometimes I do. Hmm.
Thoughts? Notes? How have your experiences been?
Uh, Shoot, I've had good experiences. But I mean, for the most part, I'm not. Uh, if I meet somebody, it's not my intention. Is not just to boom, 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 boom to date initially. I got to get to know you and hang out, whatever like that. And so, um, I've hung out with people and I'm like, okay, they're kind of weird, and and I hung out with them again, but I wouldn't consider that dating or anything like that. Um, but for the
But
most
you
part,
aren't like on the
uh,
apps, you're meeting people in person?
yeah, yeah, you meet them in person, on the apps sometimes too. A lot of times the apps are good, if you just want to meet, community, and you don't have to necessarily be dating. You can, I think, on some of them you can put, hey, just make friends or hang out, um, and I'll use that too to kind of just get information about a place. A lot of times you won't meet up with these people, but it's cool to have that back and forth and say, hey, okay, so what's it like being here? Where should I go? What's Friday looking like? Me, I'm a person. I like to find like a chill spot. I don't really need the club, but I like a nice little lounge. I like a bar. I like just a chill spot with some Afro beats. Um, sometimes I might do the shisha, and so that's the kind of place I like to be in. So being able to ask somebody on the app, hey, where can I find this at? Well, and just get that inside information, it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all
Um,
the time
Other
dating
than
is a
that, let me
really
see what
good
else.
way to see the city from a with a local. Because it's like they know where to hang out.
Yeah.
They know the
Uh-huh.
good spots
Somebody
to
show
go
you.
eat. You have somebody to show you around. Not y'all. First of
Definitely,
all,
definitely, definitely. Uh,
let me just address this, okay? Angela says Kyoka plays too much. She had too many people on her
okay.
channel that she's met in real life for me to believe that she is an introvert as she thinks. First of all, Angela, okay, shots fired. Relax. Okay, relax. I am an introvert. You haven't met me in person. Nobody has met me. A lot of people haven't met me in person. Okay, totally different experience. Like the video, by the way, everybody watching. If you haven't liked the video already, okay, so you're not really dating, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to get, so mostly my channel is black women, but we have had some insurgences of black men. So I'm trying to, set the stage like if the people want to go to a country and they want to find out what the dating scene is like, to find out maybe they're on a quest to find their future wife somewhere. Is there a place that you could say, hey, I like dating here, or hey, like I had some really great experiences in this country.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Shit, Africa. It's, as a continent, I guess it depends on what you're looking for, right?
Hmm.
I would say, um, know what you're looking for. Know what you're looking for, so you don't waste a lot of time. Um, for me, like so, once my son, moved in with me, my so okay, let me go back. So after, so my kids were in high school. I would do a little bit of dating around, but it wasn't too serious because at this time, I kind of, after start traveling, I realized that I wanted to live outside the states, and so I already kind of building this image of once the kids graduate, I'll do my nomad thing. I'll be able to visit a few places and then see where I want to be and kind of see what that looks like and build that. And when I was dating in the States, I would meet women and we go on dates. And one of the first questions I was asked is, can you see yourself living outside of America? And
I
and the
feel
black women I
attacked.
would meet, I would go on
Like,
dates with would be like, no, no, well, don't feel attacked, because
no,
it's
because
what I
no,
only date black women, so
I
I
also
can only
no no
speak
no
on
no
my
no no no.
experiences.
I'm saying this because I also have had the same experience. So like I've been back in the US for like a year,
Mhm.
and I've been trying to date people, but it's a hard sell, right? Because I'm like and I've run into this problem. I've run into this problem when I was traveling too, but it's like because I'm like, so if I like you, are you ready to get up out of here? like hey, do you have a passport by the way? Not today, but 3 months from now, are you ready to go? It's really hard to find somebody that's gonna like get on that track with you, because I think a lot of people, especially in the US, they're comfortable with like, a week here, 2 weeks there, but this idea of actually no, I don't want to live here, and I actually like to live in different places is a really hard sell. So you're saying you found that too when you were in the US?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in the States, yeah, the first date they'll be like, nah, my mama live here, and so it was, they were like, I can't leave my family. They were like, so that was the response I was getting,
Mhm.
and so, but I was so on the fact that I was gonna be gone, and I and I've in the past what's the term? Where you kind of just you take something that's not really for you. You starts with S. You
I don't
settle.
know what
Yeah,
you're
you
saying.
swat. So I
Oh,
settle.
settle.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
kept
So I've settled.
you
I
kept
was like, it's in my head, but
I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
it's
No.
it's been crazy. Like I've been traveling, so I don't hear a lot of English, and so I just came. I was in Benin the last 6 7 weeks, so French and all that's in my head. So even trying to conjure a phrase in
Yeah.
English right now and talk to somebody is a little bit of work. Uh, and so yeah, so that was what it was. People weren't really into that. And women, no, they're not gonna leave. And so I decided, okay, well, I'm. This is where I want to. I know I want to go. I want to travel. before I've settled, I know I want to. I'm going, and so I just stopped dating for a while. I was like, okay, when my kids graduate, then I'll go ahead and go and can see um, and travel for a bit, see what I really want, and all these things. But so for a few years, I wasn't really dating. My kids were in high school like that, and
Yeah.
so yeah, now that I'm traveling, when I go different places, now it's I would say I meet people who are more suitable for me, who can travel, who want to travel, who are curious, um, and a lot of people are not really into like the nomad thing. I call it country hopping. They're not going to just go 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 go, but they are willing to live outside the states, um, and so
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
think
found my tribe outside of Mexico.
mm, I think too, like because everything is closer in certain places that it's easier to travel. Whereas like in the US, man, that flight is so long. No matter where you go, and I'm like, except Asia, right? Asia is just far. But everywhere else is like so it's like you could
Yeah.
meet somebody and they're more open to going out of the country just because it's kind of a normal thing to travel. Whereas like in the US, I would say not just for Black Americans, but for Americans in general, traveling is kind of seen as this extravagant luxe experience. Like, oh, you travel? Oh my God. Because it's such a long flight, it could be pricey. We have all these ideas attached to it.
We do. And Africa can be far. 10 hours from anywhere in the states can be intimidating. But if you come from Florida, you can be in what Colombia, maybe Peru, in what, 3 hours, the same that it
Yeah,
would take for me to get to maybe New York from Texas. And so there's some things out there, and it's like it's a lot of us too moving those regions. Peru, Colombia. Panama I think they have a strong black
yeah,
expat population too out there. I haven't been there yet, but that's what I hear. And
yeah,
so,
that's true.
yeah.
All right, so no passport bro for you. And so CK is asking, will you eventually settle abroad and get residency and citizenship? Can you pick one country to stay in? That's what that question is.
um, so uh, right now, so the kids graduated last. This is their end of their freshman year, right? And so I wanted to spend the entire year just traveling and trying to find something that felt better than Kenya to me. Because I since the 2019, I've been going every year for at least for a month or two, whatever. And so I'm trying to find something that has a better feel to me than that. Um, I think that I I could be there, and I think I will be there for a few months. And I think I'm going. As far as I don't know if I'm residency. I probably pursue residency. I don't know about citizenship there because I know it's such a process. But but yeah, I can see myself there for a bit. I can see myself investing. So I talk to realtors all the time. About different land opportunities, different apartments and housing. Um, so Nairobi, maybe on the coast, Malindi or Watamu. I can see myself there. So I'm when I get back out there this time, I'm gonna seriously get back out there and talk to some people and look and possibly purchase something. Um, as far as citizenship goes, a lot of things are happening in the West right now too, and so I've actually talked to a lawyer in Benin about they have this new procedure now where they're allowing um, people to use their documents from African ancestry that shows that they have sub-Saharan um, ancestry to get citizenship. And so, I mean, I've done that before. I've done it. I have my results. I know my maternal side is from Sierra Leone, and my paternal side is from a tribe in Cameroon. And so, that's something I've been in communication with them about, and so something I might pursue. Um, but right now, I'm just trying to see what feels better than Kenya to me. You know.
Okay, so I want you to speak on this because I had a lot of mixed reviews about my interview about Kenya. What do you enjoy about Kenya, and why do you see it as a place that you could potentially try to get residency?
I would say diversity. And so for me, I like the beach. I don't know if it's just being a Pisces or what it is, but water, I have to be around, water, and if I'm not around water, then, pretty much everything in my room or in my bathroom is blue. I have like aqua blue. So I just like that color, that I don't know, it's something about it. But I like the diversity. It's the fact that I can be at the coast. I can have that. I can have clear water and white sand, or I can have golden sand, in Malindi. But then I can also go to Nairobi, and it's still super green, and it's super super green. But the weather's is a break from the heat, and so I think that. Um, I mean, and then it's English speaking, and so it makes things a little bit easier. Um, I've been going back for so long. I have friends there. I have community there. Let me see. But I mean, to be honest with you, it's green. It's so green. When I'm in Nairobi, I mean, I could spend hours just sitting on my balcony, just looking outside. Honestly, yeah, and just taking it all in, just because it's so green and it's so peaceful. Um, so yeah, I don't, I don't think I found a place like that. South Africa was cool. Like Durban was really cool for me. I didn't, Cape Town wasn't my thing. Johannesburg was cool. I think that I didn't hang out with enough people, so when I go back, you know, I'll definitely get out more and experience that. But I know a lot of people like South Africa, but
I
that's
like
not
South
really my
Africa.
vibe.
I like South Africa, but I don't like that I can't move around like I want to in South Africa. Like everybody kept
Mm,
telling me I was not safe. I like to take walks
yep,
and go on public transportation.
yep,
And
yep,
I didn't feel unsafe, but I'm also delusional. But it was just like I should be able to just walk around my neighborhood or walk around in the city and get around. You know what I mean? Without having to call a driver or
yep.
call an Uber. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's probably what it was for me. Actually, that is what it was. A major part of it. Um, at least for Johannesburg, being warned, hey, don't walk here. I'm a Roma, so I like to just kind of I'll walk for hours and get lost and find my way back, and then
That's how
that's
you learn the
that's my
neighborhood.
education for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Constantly being told, and it's different when you hear it like on Western media, like it's not safe. Da da da. You're like, all right, whatever. But when you get there and the locals are telling you that, it's like, hold on now,
Right.
and
Right.
so it's not safe for you. And so um, with that, it did kind of my experience wasn't so good with that. And then like Cape Town, it was yeah,
We know.
it was
You don't have to
maybe more
say it.
diverse. Yeah, so Cape Town wasn't really, my vibe, but Durban was cool. I had the coast. I was right on the beach. It was right by. Have you been to Durban? I mean,
I haven't been to
South
Durban.
Africa.
I've been to South Africa. I've been to Cape Town and
Okay, never been
Johannesburg.
to Durban.
I didn't
Okay,
stay
okay, yeah,
long
yeah, that's right.
enough.
Um, oh yeah, Durban's smooth. It's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, hold on, wait 1 second. Let me hook up my battery real quick. But yeah, Durban was a good vibe. It was easy. I had the sand, the heat. Um, and it was green too. I just felt like I probably wanted to. Oh, and Shaka, I think it's called like a Shaka Land or Shaka Park or something like that, which is a super cool theme park out there. Um, and so that is a place, I would go back and experience Durban again, or at least Kaizen in that area. I would like to see more of the area. I think Durban
Mm,
might be too touristy. I would like to see what else is out there that is just kind of hidden, some hidden gems out there. But
okay.
maybe that's one place I could see myself outside of, Kenya. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. What
Oh,
brought you
Ethiopia's cool.
to
Ethiopia's always cool too.
What brought you to Nigeria? Because I was told, and you can confirm or deny, I was told that people don't go to Nigeria as a tourist destination. They go to find a man because Nigeria is only known for exporting men. So what brought you to Nigeria, and and what are you enjoying there? What are you doing there? What is there to do there? Tell the people.
Well, um, it's next time one second. Um,
Take your
well,
time.
this
I didn't left
experience,
you. I didn't called
what
you,
initially got
and
me
we didn't
here.
been on the phone way too long. But I appreciate your time.
Nah, we good. You see, I ain't got too much going on. What
Right.
got me here was, and so I came from Benin. I was in Benin for, like I said, last 6 weeks, and my homeboy is from Nigeria, and he planned on coming home. He's in the States right now, and so he planned on coming home this month. So we're gonna link up out here and just kick it. He's gonna, show me around. I was gonna go to his village, meet his family, all that stuff. But right now, he doesn't. He was saying that with the stuff with Trump and everything, and the way that I guess ICE and how people are being detained at the airport,
Yeah.
he just didn't feel comfortable leaving at this time. And so he didn't want to leave the states. But I was like, okay, cool. But he said, I got a homeboy out there, got people out there I'm gonna plug you in with, and you're gonna have the time of your life. And so I was like, all right, cool. So the people that I met in Benin, they were really cool. Some of them, um, I guess, have been here before. So they was like, I got a driver. So I got connected with a driver that was going to drive me across the border. It's like 3 hours. Lagos is 3 hours from Cotonou, Benin, where I've been at. And so, yeah, the driver, I hooked up with the driver. Everything was cool. He picked me up from the spot I was staying, my apartment in Benin, got me across the border, and then another driver that's associated with took me the rest of the way. Um, it's cool. It's honestly, it's green. It's green. It's green. It looks good. It's a good feeling. It honestly is a great feeling. Um, it's a little difficult if you're not from here. Um, like so, one issue is that you can't get. I guess it's like normally I land somewhere, I get a SIM card, and here I wasn't able to get a SIM card just using my passport. They were saying that some other documents is required, and I guess it's just more difficult. So I don't have a SIM card, so I don't really have access to my phone when I'm outside of where I'm staying. Uh, Let me see. The other issue is just they don't accept foreign cards, and so excuse me, U.S. credit debit cards, nope. My Kenyan credit debit cards, nope.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so, like if I yes, if I was here trying to do it by myself, I would have been stuck out, So luckily, I'm with my boys people, and so he took care of me. He has he works for a bank, so he gave me like a prepaid card he has, and so he was able to load it, and I can use that when I to get out. But the only thing is that when I get out, I really can't go too far because I can't use my phone um, to use Bolt, or riding app. So that kind of it's not the best thing. Also, I mean, cash too. The naira is really really low right now. So to even if you only got like $30, you still got a big old what's it called a bankroll in your pocket sticking out, and
So
it's
you
just it
rich,
might be just
rich.
30 USD, but your pockets don't. You look like it. Or you, I don't know about you rich, but you target. What I'm saying, you standing out. And,
Fair.
like I said, I don't like walking around my pockets bulky. So
Mhm.
and so because most people have the technology where they can just tap their phone and just pay for things using the local uh, money app. And
Mm.
so those things are a little difficult. And I've just been here since I've been here for about 3 days now, 3 nights, and so I'm still getting acclimated. Um, but those things have been kind of difficult. I got a friend in not Arusha, in
Abuja.
Abuja,
Abuja.
Abuja. Uh huh. and they were gonna host me. Her and her husband were gonna host me like this upcoming week. So I was actually gonna head out there this Monday. I was gonna head out there and just spend a week out there with them. Just kind of see it. She's gonna show me around. Also had some stuff set up at the international school there in Abuja. She's gonna introduce me to some of the administrators and kind of see if that was an option that I might be interested in. But I reached out to her yesterday and just let her know that I, eh, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Just because to fly out there, I'm going deeper into the country without the resources that I feel comfortable having. It's
Mm,
just probably not the yeah. I don't move like that, and so I mean, if something changes, I can get like a SIM card, and um, but nah, I think what I'm gonna do is probably just chill a few more days and then back to Cotonou. You know,
mm.
but I
And
mean,
so,
but I think it's good that I'm here. Though. I miss the African giant. You know, even if I had to see it at least once, you know, and then I'll probably be back in Daddy December, you know,
mhm.
when everybody else comes back and my boy is definitely here and everybody, then you know, I'll be ready at that time. But
So
yeah,
Nigeria is definitely like one of those places where you probably need to know somebody. You can't just go as a,
I,
yeah.
you need to know people, not just somebody. You need to know a few people, you know,
You
because
know
if they don't
several
answer the phone,
people.
yeah, yeah, you know, you
Uh,
need to have your resources all put together. Um, but I mean. But see, but you know, I work like I said, I work in the evening time. So the last few nights, I get out at nighttime. I get out about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and just kind of just walk around my area. And you know, a lot of people say, you know, oh my God, they're gonna snatch you. That's the thing that people like to say. They gonna somebody gonna kidnap you or whatever. Um, yeah, I don't see myself being kidnapped, but it's
well,
I mean for the
but
most part,
people say that to women a lot, and I didn't realize that they were also saying that to men too. So you received that as well. Somebody gonna
just
snatch
for
you up
here, just for here,
just for their.
here. Yeah, it's in Nigeria. Like they snatching everybody. I think it's just you know hysteria. People just need something to say a lot of times. And but yeah, I haven't had any issues. Everybody seemed cool. I mean, and it could be the area I'm in too. Like I say, I'm in Lekki. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a very upscale estate area. People, you know, so I haven't really had any issues at all.
I think it's interesting that you seem to prefer Benin to Nigeria. I haven't heard a lot about Benin, the country. Can you talk a little bit about what your experiences is there?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would say super peaceful. It doesn't seem like it's not overly crowded. The streets are organized. There's a lot of development on the coast of Fidros Beach in Cotonou. There's a lot of development, but you got this beautiful brown sand and with these green palm trees coming out of it, and it's super serene and peaceful,
Mm,
organized. But I will say very organized. It's not crowded. It's a little different. Just because it's not, I don't see so many people. Um, but it's super French speaking, and so one thing I have to, you know, one thing I like to do when I go somewhere is, you know, prepare. And so, you know, I'm using the apps. I watch YouTube videos so I can still engage as much as possible in their native language or in their tongue. You know, a lot of them still, you know, have their mother tongues, but French is the official language. And so,
do you speak
yeah,
any
yeah,
other
yeah. So
languages?
I just prepare like that. Yeah, I can speak a little bit of a few languages. I can speak a little bit of Swahili. I can speak a little bit of Amharic. I can speak, you know,
I
I'm from
love
Texas, so
Swahili.
Spanish, of course. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. Spanish. And since I've been here, you know, uh, un peu français. And so,
Okay.
little French, a bit of French.
Okay.
If I said it right, I
Um,
don't know.
it didn't sound right, but I'm gonna let you cook. Um, so I guess okay, so my next question would be, since you've traveled to so many places, are there places that you wouldn't recommend for a woman to travel by herself?
Um, you know, I would say that not from my personal experiences, but I've invited people. Well, I'm saying invited, but I've advised people to go to Zanzibar. After I went to Tanzania and Zanzibar, I had some friends who were interested. So I had one of my old coworkers. Her and her family went to Zanzibar, and I connected her with my tour guide and all that. But her experience wasn't that great. She went with her family, but
Really?
a group of women. Uh-huh. And she says that I guess I don't know if it's like maybe it was the culture thing, and but she felt like them being women that they weren't respecting them. They had concerns and things like that. They were kind of just left to wait. Nobody would respond to them. Um, and so that's I mean, yeah, that's probably one place. I'm not gonna say I don't recommend it. I would just say um, maybe everybody's experience is different though, and I can't, and honestly, I don't know how people move around. Like I say, I don't move with the same energy everybody else moves with. And so, and I know plenty women who travel solo, plenty black women who travel solo, you know, and they go,
I've like
and they
only
go
ever heard
without
good things
hesitation.
about I've only ever heard good things about Tanzania. It's on my list. But I also I I understand what you're saying, because I think if you have one bad experience, for me, it
Hmm.
doesn't color the whole country. It's just that one time you've had a bad experience. You know what I mean? And also, I have the
Yeah,
understanding too that maybe my experience is not going to be the same as another person's. So, okay, I can respect that
yeah,
answer.
it,
Hmm.
yeah, and like I said, it just yeah, it's unfortunate they had to go through that.
Yeah.
Because I think one example was I think when they first got to the hotel, the resort, the rooms weren't ready or something. It was raining horrible, hardly raining, and they just had them stuck outside for a bit, and they trying to stay dry, and they couldn't. And when they kept asking, they wouldn't. The people working there wouldn't do anything for them. Um, like I say, it's I know other people who had great experiences, but I will say that at that time too, it might have been well. Let me say this, and that was just Zanzibar. I told her too that she probably need to go to Tanzania because I know in Tanzania it's more diverse and it might be a different experience. But I will say that it's been times when I've been in certain places in Africa where my white counterparts would
Treat
be
it better.
would get a different attention, yeah, than I would get. And so I'm curious, like in Zanzibar, maybe they might have had something to do with too, just a group of 7 8 black women, and they might not have been getting the same respect that they would have gotten if they were white women, you know because I mean,
Yeah,
I've been places and they've catered to them and ignored me, and so it
definitely.
happens.
Has there ever been like a moment where you felt like maybe you're being really American in this moment? Do you know what I mean? Because I think I ask that question because sometimes I think Americans have this expectation of service that in other
Mhm.
countries, like they don't care about you. Like they don't care about that you want your drink. They don't care that you want to place an order. Like I'll get to you when I get to you.
I see that's the thing. I don't. I try not to at all costs. I try not to be American. That's actually one of a joke I have with one of my Kenyan buddies. I always say, I'm gonna have to turn on my Americanism if they don't get it right. I want to speak with your supervisor now.
Right,
I
right.
want to speak with those type. Who's in charge? but that don't work.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
don't work. They'll look at you stupid in most places. And so, yeah, but honestly, I try to see things from their point of view, stay calm. Things move slow in a lot of places. Here in Africa, it's for certain parts of the Caribbean, you know, things move slow, and they'll get to you when they get to you. And so, I I've learned that. I've embraced it, and I just take it for what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Where's the best food?
Best food? Ooh. Ethiopia.
What worst?
Ethiopia.
Where's the worst food? Yuck, will never go back. Hated it. I starved for 3 days because I can't eat anything here.
Worst food I've ever had probably was in Amsterdam. Yeah, it has. See, I don't really see I don't really eat a lot of meats. Here and there I'll try some stuff, culture stuff, but I like seafood. And so
Mhm.
when I was in Amsterdam, first time going to Amsterdam, I ended up getting some fish and I get fish and chips, and it just wasn't cooked. It wasn't cooked well. It didn't have any season. It was horrible. Um, and then let me see. I'm trying to think of the most recent time I went to Amsterdam. Um, I think I stayed and ate at my hotel most of the time. To be honest with you, but yeah, yeah, that's one place where the food doesn't really impress me at all. Amsterdam, yeah. Dutch food is.
What's been
What about you?
what's been for
What would you
me?
say? What would you say? Yeah, the worst food.
The worst food. Oh, I mean, I brought my seasoning with me. I'm from New Orleans. I brought my Tonys.
Oh,
So
okay.
I keep it in the purse. So,
Oh,
but
okay. You're
for
gonna survive.
me, the worst food, um, maybe the UK. But I don't want to say UK because you have to go to like a Caribbean. Like you have to. I don't know. I don't know. No play. I'm never impressed by food outside of home. So I'm always expecting it to be mid. If I've had like amazing food, like I'll tell you where I had amazing food, like um paella in Spain is really good. Indian food in London is really good. I can only imagine if I actually went to India. Because when I tell you I was, oh, it was so good. Uh
Yep.
Cause in Morocco, um tangine, like a lamb tagine, so good. Flavorful, tender, delicious. I love lamb. I don't eat meat, but I will tear up a baby sheep like every day. Um, where else was it gross? Germany was gross. Germany was gross. Like everything I ate was disgusting. Denmark, their burgers were really good in Denmark, but again, not well seasoned, child. Not well seasoned. Wasn't very good. Surprisingly, I really love the food in Albania. It's really like Mediterranean. Like I kind of like a nice Mediterranean diet. So that was really good. Really good like seafood. Um, so yeah, that's my take on it. What what's one of your most like memorable experiences while you've been traveling?
Most memorable. Ooh. Uh, uh, I would definitely, things that are new, like the hyena feeding the hyenas was definitely probably something super, memorable. I won't ever forget what it's like being out there. Um, but I would say also when I went to Egypt, now that's one thing that kind of got me with this. Okay, I could do this. I can live abroad. Because when I got there, I got connected with some international teachers, and so they kind of just hosted me and took me around. And one thing that they did for me, um, they set up a felucca. I think it's called a felucca. It's like a thin boat. It's like a long, thin boat. It's called a felucca, and we cruised the Nile. We cruised the Nile River, and they brought all
Wow.
these different foods, and everybody brought something, And we had the food, we had the drinks. And it was just like a more of an intimate setting, but it was like maybe 10 of us, and and I mean that was something that's memorable. I won't forget. Um, but yeah, I would say those experiences that you can only do in those places. Those things stick out. Going out to eat and hanging out and going to the bar, all that stuff is cool, but you do that anywhere. But where else can you feed hyenas? Where else can you ride a
I
fluke
don't
through the
need to know
Nile
where.
River?
I don't need to know where. Yeah.
You might want to. Oh, you know what I did recently? Actually, I went to a Python temple, and so in Benin, Benin is known for their voodoo. They're like
Hmm.
the home of voodoo, Vodun, and so I did go to a Python temple where they worship pythons, and that was cool. I went in, and they have this water that I guess the hope it's water now. I think about, but you're supposed to they pour it on you and you wipe it for a blessing. And it's like it's supposed to be like the snake. I don't know now. I'm thinking about it, but I really hope it was water. But yeah, that was a cool experience too. That's something I'd only see there.
Hmm.
And actually, I've been doing a few different things in Benin. Cool experiences. I went to Ganvi, and which is called the the it's the I don't know what it's called. Not thinking about it, but it's
You always look at
it's
me like I'm supposed to know. I have no
yeah,
idea
but
what you're
fill in the
talking
blank.
about.
Yeah, tell me. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm
I don't
talking
know
about.
what you're talking
You
about.
know. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe not. But it's called the Venice of Africa. The
Okay.
Venice. And so
Oh, I
and
did
so
see you posted this on Instagram. But I can't
yes,
pronounce the
ma'am.
word. I know what you're talking about. I actually do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, it's the Venice of Africa.
Mhm.
And so, excuse me. And so, just seeing a community that's been established for over 300 years and seeing how they live their lives, that's something I can't forget. Seeing a child who might be 3 or 4 years old on his own boat, pedaling, just standing up, just doing his thing.
Yeah.
Uh, that's so cool to me to see how people outside of the states a lot of times, and in the states a lot of times, certain communities you have to mature faster, have to have certain responsibilities earlier. But just to see how some of these young folks they do what they got to do, just and nobody's checking after them. Nobody's they can do some things, you know, and so
Do you
super
feel
super
like
interesting.
do you feel like travel has changed some of the things you've thought about parenting? Because I feel like for me, I didn't know that children had so much independence in other countries. Like they'll get on the subway station by themselves. They know the route, you know, like they'll run to the store by themselves. And I mean, I kind of didn't have that kind of freedom when I was younger. Like and America is a dangerous place, yes. But to see a kid like by themselves, and I mean, my friend in London has a 10-year-old and she wants to talk to me about American politics. Like very intelligent, can carry
Yeah.
conversation with any adult. So, has it
Mhm.
kind of changed the way you've looked at parenting and how you raised your children?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even just the experience in Egypt. Once I got back from Egypt, I sat down with the kids. It's like, hey, what if I started teaching in Egypt? Would y'all want to come and attend an international school there, and y'all can go to school, meet new friends and all these things. Just because I felt like exposure, is the answer to a lot of things a lot of issues that the kids are having right now in the states. You know, they
Mm,
need to see more. They need to realize they have more options. You know, too many kids are, are feeling are getting caught up in emotional stuff over something they see online. Which is, for somebody my age, well, I say for me, it's silly. Stuff online is fake. That's why I tell my kids, hey, don't, stuff online is fake. My students, my kids, when you start feeling some kind of way, get off of it. But I think that a lot of things I see outside the states are things that we could use in the states and will benefit the kids as far as being outside more often. The kids, in the states, the kids are indoors all the time. They taking away stuff, taking away the library, and a lot of school districts. Uh, in Houston ISD right now, I know a lot of libraries. They're using the library department and they're closing that and using that for like behavior centers and different things like that. Uh, and the food is trash. I mean, if you and I would eat the school food, 'cause it was free. But but now I think about it, and these breakfast burritos, ultra processed breakfast burritos, the foods they give you, all of it. Most schools, most public schools, and I believe it has an effect on the child's behavior, the foods that they're eating.
mm,
As far as they need time in the sun. As far as a child, I saw a video the other day. You might have saw it when I posted it, but it was some students in the states, and it was a chef, and he came and visited the class, and he was pulling out vegetables, and they couldn't even name what the vegetables were because they're
no.
so. Yeah,
Was
yeah. I
that
meant to send it to
real?
you. Yeah, it was real. The dude put out some tomatoes, and they were like, cucumber. They were saying all kinds of stuff, and and so um, they just didn't know. And this was like I would say a classroom of maybe kindergartners to maybe 5 year
Mm,
olds, but for them to not be able to identify, whole foods is a problem. You
yeah.
know, they should know where their food comes from. They should know how to survive, and it just shows me that how dependent we are on the system. If
No,
we had
that's
to grow
true.
our own foods, then a lot of us would starve, wouldn't know what to do. Versus in other countries where that's part of the curriculum, you know. And
Mm,
so, um, yeah, I just certain things like that I've seen where I'm like, okay, I I see why um, other kids in other places behave differently. Why they have different values. Um, you know, but stuff like
yeah.
that. And that honestly, that's what makes me want to teach abroad in the classroom setting. Like, I mean, I go back and forth a lot because it's a lot of freedom what I do now teaching online. I just have to log on at a certain time, but and I can be in a different place. But I still have a passion for working with the kids, you know, hands on. And so I often think about maybe I should go ahead and get one of these international, schools a try. Uh, maybe even in Kenya. Maybe here, maybe there. Um, maybe I should try it, but it's difficult to give up this remote life.
Yeah, the freedom is nice.
It
We
sure is.
we read for my book club, we read Parable of the Sower. And so after that I was like, "Oh my God, I need to learn something. I need to learn how to garden. I need a skill. I don't have any survival skills. I need to figure it out because you never know what's going to happen. You never
Yeah,
know."
you're right. Yeah, and I mean, and we do actually. That's one of the things I've been. Like I said, I got realtors always hitting me up. I've been looking at some different land. Part of my goal is to do a little bit of farming, at least small scale, a quarter acre. Just put some things out there and just and really learn some stuff. Get out there. You know?
Yeah. Have you I have such ADHD. No, it's not that. It's because we've been having a great conversation. I feel like I could talk to you about so many different things. So I'm thinking about questions that I could ask you while also looking at the questions that I'm supposed to ask you. What advice would you give another person who's watching this right now if they want to become a nomad, if they want to just travel more? What would you tell that person?
Do it. Do it. I would say, yeah, shh, go where your heart desires. Just be prepared. I mean, right now you can get on YouTube and put anything in, and something's gonna pop up. If I was, put in shit, nomads in Fuji, something would pop up. And so I would say start there, get an idea of where you're going, get, where you want to go, see if it's something that's feasible.
Mhm.
Cost wise, I would say go on Airbnb. You can look at a daily rates, but I always look at a monthly rate. And so I get the monthly rates and get an idea of, okay, what do I have to have? I know me, I like to have a washing machine. Um, a washing machine, I like to have, depending on where I'm at, I might need an air conditioner, or I might not need an air conditioner. In Kenya, I won't need an air conditioner. If I'm on the coast, I will. I mean, I'm sorry, in Nairobi, I won't need an air conditioner. If I'm on the coast, I will. Um, so just know what you have, what your requirements are. Get on Airbnb, see what range you have for a monthly cost. You might be able to find your apartment everything you need for 500, or you might have to pay 900 for what you want. You know, and then you can start negotiating. That's what I do. I mean, I reach out to Airbnb hosts and I just say, hey, especially if they're not booked for you, see they're not booked for a
This
while, you
is a
got some
hack,
negotiating room,
everybody. Are you listening? This is a hack.
right? Yeah,
Reach out to
it
them,
is.
ask them if that's their real price.
Yeah, be like, hey, I'm interested. I'm gonna stay a month. I'm looking to stay a month and possibly longer. You know, would you be willing to negotiate at this price? Um, 9 times out of 10, they will, unless they got some stuff coming in the next month. And you're like, okay, this is money season. And they might be like, no, but 9 times out of 10, they'll always negotiate with you. I've even negotiated on Booking.com too, and so both of those are what I use. But I would definitely go ahead and find that, make sure it's feasible if you have a place to stay. Make sure you know what the language is. If you're not familiar, if you don't speak the language, download Google Translate. Make sure it's one of the languages within that too. Decide if you're gonna stick with your network plan that you have in the states, because you might be able to use AT&T or Verizon or something like that over there if you have that plan. Or if not, then you're gonna have to probably get a SIM card and look and make sure the airport has a place to get a SIM card as soon as you get off the plane. So that's something you don't have to worry about. You get that SIM card, you connect wherever you need to. Everything is negotiable in Africa. Yes, indeed. Everything. And so, have that make sure you got your communication aligned. I will contact my bank, depending on who you're with, because a lot of banks, once you start, using that card outside the states, especially in Africa, they're gonna lock it up. So make sure you with a cool bank that's gonna take care of you. Chase is good with a lot of different things. Fried stuff, they cool with that. Bank of America, they'll lock you up in a second. So I don't really fool with them too much. But let me see. But those are the things you have to have in place. Your housing, how you're gonna get somewhere to do, and then also try to connect with community as well too. And that's when you start looking online on Facebook and say, okay, well, is there a expat group? And it doesn't have to necessarily be a black expat group, but just an expat group and wherever you're going. Like Madagascar, I told you that's on my list, right? And so there's not a Black Madagascar expat group, and so I'm just in the Madagascar expat group. I see it's a woman named Lisa out there, and so I reached out to her before. She's somebody black in the
Don't
group,
be
so I reached
acting
out. You probably
like,
know
don't be, hold up. Don't be acting like you don't
what's
watch my
happening.
channel. Don't be acting like you haven't watched my channel. Because you know I sat on here and I talked to Lisa. Don't do me like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
talk,
why I was thinking. Okay, Lisa Malaga. Okay, yeah. So yeah,
give me
okay,
my
but you know what?
props.
Maybe that. Yeah, whoop whoop. Yeah. That's old, ain't it? Hey, it's been like 20 years. But yes. But yeah, okay, that's why it popped in my head. Okay, yeah. And so, but Miss Lisa has advised me on, where to win and where to go. And so just being able to find that connection wherever I'm going ahead of time, now I'm even more comfortable. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, cool. When I get there, if anything happens, at least I got somebody I can ask, to help me. And I mean, things have happened too. Like a buddy of mine was telling me because he knew I wanted to go to Madagascar last year, and so he reached out to me because he had a homeboy. Because we meet people who travel, and he had a homeboy who was locked up in Madagascar for a few months. And so yeah, I don't know. I think I know what he did. Yeah, so he was yeah, I think he got caught outside and he was in public smoking weed in public or something like that, and I guess that's all it took for him to get locked up. Which is, I
Wow.
mean, yeah, it's kind of bizarre. I know in Asia they say I've heard things like that as far as um, it's it's like some real consequences as far as getting caught. Like in Japan, I've heard that. In Bali, they were trying to tell me that. Um, but I mean, I didn't think there was be such serious consequences out there in Madagascar for something like that. But I just say that to say that you can get a lot of information through these groups, and that can be your guide. You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that's real, like connecting with people who already live there. I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck out and needed somebody to call. And has also been the person that a person has called like, "Hey, I saw that you're in XYZ place. Like, can you come pick me up from the train station? I need help getting to such and such. Where am I supposed to go eat?" Like, so just to have somebody who you can talk to that's on your side of the world is really helpful.
oh, definitely, it makes it a lot easier, a lot
Yeah.
easier. Hmm.
Yeah. So, since you've started nomading, what's something that you have learned about yourself?
Uh, I've learned that I don't like big crowds. I don't like big crowds as much um, as I would maybe 5, 10 years ago. Um, I ended up going into a party. It's like a big event, celebration music festival in I think it was Malta, or maybe it was Bali. No, maybe Malta, somewhere. But soon as I got in and just saw how packed it was, just I just felt anxiety. Like, oh no, like no, I don't want to. I don't want to fight with no crowds. I don't. This is not no. And so I left. I paid like $40 for the ticket. It was supposed to be a nice music festival, but it wasn't worth it for me. It wasn't worth it for me. Another thing I've learned, I guess, about myself um, is that I require solitude. Like I've got to have a good amount of time to myself. Um, just analyze stuff, just to breathe, just to reflect. And so I would say those are things that I've learned about myself. Um, yeah. Hmm.
You are the second person who has come onto my channel and has said that you learned that you like to be by yourself since traveling. As an introvert, this is a proud day for me. Okay. I want more people. I want more people to learn that they need to be by themselves. I love that.
Yeah. I think it's. I always say that's the answer to a lot of different things. And honestly, I think I felt like this before travel. This just even solidified it because I think that, especially in living in the States, we take in so much. It's
Yeah.
always this. A lot of information's coming at us, and as soon as we wake up, and a lot of times we don't know how to turn it off, and just detach because there's just so much, so much, so much, and we feel like, okay, if I turn this down, if I turn this down a bit, it makes me a bad. parent, or it makes me a bad son, or it makes me a bad friend. But you take in so much that you really, it's hard to really take care of yourself at times and see what you need. And so I've always been one, when it gets to that point, I'll turn my phone off. Notify my people, hey, I'm turning my phone off for a bit. My phone might be off for 2 or 3 days, but now the fact that I can
Two, three
really get
days is
away.
aggressive.
You know,
It's aggressive self
eh,
care right there.
yeah, we need it. I mean, when you think about how much we take in. We take in so much from people's opinions to, imagine the people who really go to work every day. And are at an office setting. Like, like no, man,
But
yeah,
that's
that's
good that you don't feel. It's good that you don't feel guilt for doing that, especially like if you have to turn your phone off and you have kids too. Like
you know,
I feel like families sometimes can almost feel entitled to your time, like you said, like, oh, I'm not a bad parent, I'm not a bad son, but I need this time for myself. I think that's huge that you've come to that acknowledgement.
yeah. Yeah, and if you just put things in place, then it's not so, it's not so daunting. Like I say, for me to turn my phone off, I would definitely have to make sure my kids are in a good place. But like I said, me and their mother were living across the street from each other, so you know, and so if they need anything, they normally come knock on the door. So, and my son was with me, so they can go back and forth. So, um, yeah, yeah, you got to definitely take care of yourself. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, Gallivanting Grandma says I was a solo nomad for 3 years, gave me the opportunity to reconnect with me. Yeah. Diamond, speaking of needing to know people in other countries, Diamond was in Spain while I was in Spain, and she reached out to me because she was stranded at, I think, the a station because the train stopped at a certain time. But I was unfortunately at a Beyonce concert and I could not answer the phone, and I will forever be really sorry. I would be really sorry to you, Diamond. You have to come on the channel so I can apologize to you in front of all these good people. But I was getting my life at a Beyonce concert, girl. The phone had died. The phone was dead. Okay,
Oh
unfortunately.
man.
But knowing people in a place is very important when you go there.
It is. It is. And like I say, that group would be great to have, being a part of a community. But like I also, um, that expat app. Are you familiar with the expat app?
Yes, with
Yeah.
who is it? Shar? The
Shauna?
creator is a
Sure,
black
sure, sure.
woman.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sure, in Portugal. Yeah. What's up,
Hmm.
Sure? Yeah. Yeah, I think, that's a great tool to use too. You know.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of folks on there that's in Asia and in Europe right now. And
Hmm.
so, you know. Mhm.
Definitely. Well, Jay, I appreciate you coming down to the channel and chatting with me. I know I kept you on the phone a little bit longer than we thought, but it's okay. I appreciate you. Thank you so
No
much.
worries, no worries. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for finding time.
Yes, of course. Thank you for everybody watching right now. Remember to like the video. Drop down in the comments what was your favorite part of our discussion. If you're not subscribed to the Awkward Black Nomad, subscribe to the Awkward Black Nomad. You can now become a channel member, child. It's a small way for you to support the channel so I can keep creating amazing videos and connect with travelers all over the world. That's all I got. Peace out, y'all. Stay black. Stay black. Bye.